All right, I want to share with you one of my favorite holiday cookies, and this is just a really simple shortbread recipe. It's just got 4 ingredients. It's easy to do, but there's a couple of little tricks that I thought I'd share with you. So I've got all my ingredients ready to go in my bowl, and I have my recipe out here. It's next to my camera. I'll try and show you on my recipe stand. I have a notebook just for holiday recipes, and it's there. I probably don't need my recipe, but I like to have it out just for reference, just in case. So this calls for a cup of flour, a cup of powdered sugar, half a cup of powdered sugar, and half a cup of cornstarch, and it says to sift them together. So that means that I'm going to measure the ingredient and then sift it. The way a recipe is written is really important. If it says sifted flour, then you sift your flour first and then measure it. But if it says flour, comma, sifted, then we're going to measure, then sift. So here we go. I just have a sieve here that I use for straining and sifting and all kinds of other things. I don't have a fancy sifter, and I'm kind of down to the bottom with all of my ingredients here. I need to refill, but that's okay. I'm just gonna pour my flour in, and it's just barely 1 cup. I'm gonna pour it into my sieve, and then I find it easiest to just tap it against my hand. That sifts it right through. There's a few little lumps in there. I'm not gonna worry about that. And then half a cup of powdered sugar. Again, I'm hoping I have enough in here. Oh, I do. Just barely. Just kind of ease it out at the bottom of my jar. I'm gonna need to go grocery shopping before Christmas. Restock on a couple of things, hopefully. Okay, I'm gonna add my powdered sugar into there. Sift that through. Now, powdered sugar is a little bit lumpier, so it takes a little bit more sifting. And then when I get to the bottom here and I have lumps, I think you can see, I'm just gonna use my measuring cup or a spoon or something and press them through, because I wanna get that entire half a cup in here, and I don't want any lumps. I want it as smooth and light as possible. Almost there. A few more lumps. I'm gonna go ahead and measure my cornstarch in, and then if there's any lumps in that, they can both get sifted into my dry ingredients. So I need another half a cup, but I'm using a 1/4 cup to measure because the mouth of my jar is a little bit small for my half cup measuring spoon. So there we go. Okay. And sift that all together. And then I'm going to add my final ingredient, which is butter. This recipe calls for, sorry about that, 3/4 of a cup of butter. So I remembered this morning that I wanted to make these cookies today, so I took my butter out of the fridge and I've been letting it just sit at room temperature all day. You want your butter for this recipe to be soft, but not really soft. And if your house is like mine in the winter, it's a little bit cooler anyway. We don't keep it really warm. And so my butter is still pretty firm to the touch, but soft. So that's good. So I need 3/4 of a cup of butter. I actually like to weigh my butter when I'm measuring. And I know that 3/4 of a cup is 170 grams. So I'm just gonna cut my butter to measure it here and put it on my scale. There's 87, 129, getting there, 162, getting close, 174. So that's close enough, a little bit over, a little bit under is okay. It's still actually going to be much more accurate than if I tried to use the packaging to measure 3/4 of a cup. And I'm just going to cut it up a little bit before I add it to my dry ingredients just to make it a little bit easier, because this next part is not my favorite part of making these cookies, and that is mixing in all the butter. And really the best way to do it is with your hands, but because I don't really like doing it with my hands, I'm going to do it with my pastry cutter first and then get into it and do it with my hands, because I don't really like getting my hands all mucky. Some people, that's their favorite part of cooking, but not me. So for this, you want to just keep going until it's all incorporated in. It's going to look a little bit crumbly, but then when you press the butter or the dough together, then you'll be able to form balls. So I keep going here. And I'm going to try and give you a closer look at what it looks like when it's ready. Okay, I think I have to start with mixing with my hands now. I'm going to come a little closer so you can see. So right now there's still pretty big chunks of butter and it's pretty powdery. It wouldn't come into a ball right now if I tried. So I'm gonna have to get my hands in there. I don't like this part, but this might be your favorite part of making these cookies. If you make these, let me know. Let me know how they turned out. I always love to see other people's creations. It's part of why I teach foods. I like to see what you're making. So this takes a little bit of time. Try to be patient as I do it. I made these the other day to give away, and I was panicking a little bit because I thought, this is not coming together. They just hadn't mixed it enough. You just gotta keep going. Keep going, keep going. I might have to edit this a little bit. Maybe I can take out some of this time, but I don't know. My video editing skills are not super great, as you may have noticed. Okay, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. You can start to see it starting to kind of come together. Almost. You could add just a little bit of vanilla if you wanted, but it doesn't really need it. The main flavor of this really is the butter, and that's what gives it its distinctive crumb, is what they call with a finished baked product, the way it crumbles in your mouth. Okay, so now I'm going to come back over here a little bit closer. You can see that it's starting to come together, but it's still broken up. It's not like a dough like you would get with like a sugar cookie, but when I pick it up, I can make it hold its shape. So the very last step is forming balls and putting them on my cookie sheet and baking them. You can put these cookies really close together on your baking sheet because they are not going to spread in the oven. Some cookies spread, and so they need lots of space in between them, but these do not. I'm just going to roll them, and then I'm going to take either a fork or if you have a cookie press and just flatten them a little bit. Pop them into the oven at 325 for, let's see how long, 15 minutes, and then they're good to go. You can, when you take them out of the oven, you can transfer them directly to your cooling rack. They don't need to sit on your cookie sheet like some cookies do. All right, if you make these, let me know. I want to know how they turn out for you. Uh-oh, now I have to turn off my camera with my doughy fingers.